Hey Wake! It's so good to be with you all through the screen. In just a little bit, I'll get to see you all in person down in the garage. My name is Mary and I'm a student director here, and I'm super excited to continue our first series of the year with you. We're in a series called Unseen Things, where we're taking a look at different ideas of Satan, angels, demons, and answering different questions and comparing them to Scripture and seeing what God has to say about them. See, there's different things that are happening in our lives that we cannot see, things that are fighting for our souls every single day. And our understanding of these forces is so important for us to be able to fight back well. Last week, we set up this series talking about where and how evil began. We saw that God created everything good and that He did not create evil, but evil is a result of sin. This week, we're going to be taking a deeper look into who Satan is and his purpose in the world and in our lives. So before we start, here's just a little context about Satan. He was originally an angel. An angel surrounded the throne of God and worshipped him. They fulfilled the purpose of God so that he's ultimately glorified. Last week, we talked about how Satan was created to be good. He was an angel designed to be God's messengers to humanity like all the other angels. But in Ezekiel, we saw that an angel decided to disobey God and chose to bring himself glory. See, like all of us, angels have the ability to choose, and Satan chose to rebel against God. Ultimately, Satan chose himself. And that's how he got here. He was cast out of heaven and is now the prince of the world. We see he has been deceiving, distorting truth, and bringing enmity between God and man since the beginning of humanity. So here's a question. When I say Satan, the devil, or Lucifer, what comes to mind? There's a lot of misconceptions about Satan, but he's very much a part of today's culture. People dress up as him for Halloween. He's a cartoon. He even is featured on Netflix. We see him being depicted as innocent, being cool, even sexy. See, there are even times culture will try to make us think that Satan is misunderstood. And instead of it being evil as he actually is, we actually see him being glorified. Or maybe you just don't really even think that Satan is real or have no clue what I'm talking about. And that's okay, we'll talk about it. But it's important to understand that what we believe to be true about Satan has a huge impact on how we see the world around us and how we view ourselves and even God. So right off the bat, we need to have a correct understanding of Satan. Satan destroys. One of my mentors told me that he never gave Satan enough credit and that Satan is actually good at what he does. And I had to stop and think about this because there's times in my life where I've thought Satan doesn't matter, everything is fine. But Satan is good at what he does, and we can't ignore him. We see he's been deceiving since humanity started. Just look at the effects of Satan and sin and see the impacts it's had on your own life. Just look around and see the devastation that sin has had on the world around us. It's a heavy thing to even think about. But there is hope and there is a greater grace. So while we continue to fight this battle against the unseen things in our lives, we'll see later in this series that God promises and He will eventually end the reign of Satan in this world, and He'll be punished for all of eternity. We'll see that Jesus set a perfect example for us because He was tempted by Satan. And we're going to be looking at how, even though He was tempted, He did not sin. He did not fall into this temptation. So we're going to be taking a look at Matthew chapter 4, verse 1 through 11. Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And after fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. And the tempter came and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, command these stones to become loaves of bread." But he answered, "It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God." And then the devil took him to the holy city and set him on the pinnacle of the temple, and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down. For it is written, He will command His angels concerning you, and on their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone." And Jesus said to him, "Again it is written, you shall not put the Lord your God to the test." Again the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And he said to them, "All these I will give you if you will fall down and worship me." Then Jesus said to him, "Begone, Satan, for it is written, You shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve. Then the devil left him, and behold, angels came and were ministering to him. So with your small group, go ahead and read the passage together. Discuss what you observed about the text, what stood out to you. Maybe take a look at the sections before this passage and after, and look for context and see how this story fits into the grand scheme of this narrative. Maybe talk about how does Satan go about tempting God? And why is it important that Jesus stood strong and did not submit to these temptations? Lots to talk about, but it'll be good. Have fun in small group, and I'll see y'all soon.